Ready to take your cannabis grow to the next level? In today's video, let's break down 3 simple but game-changing tips to get you bigger, better harvests. Hey, but before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Grow Lab. If you want to connect with the best growers from all over the world, get tips and tricks on how to grow the dankest plants possible, and not have to worry about the censorship we get from YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Go check out realgrowlab.com. Get all kinds of great Grow Talk Q&A. Plus, see all the stuff YouTube won't let me show you in these videos. Sign up and join our growing community over at realgrowlab.com. Or download the app at the Apple or Android App Store. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, I see. Come on, let's grow some big buds.
All right. Actually, you know what? Before we even jump into this, let's cover the controversy whether growing big buds even matters still.
Well, yeah, it's true, because what are you growing for? Now, as opposed to growing for just straight weight, I'm growing for quality. Everyone's got bud out there. I want something that's really unique.
But on the flip side, some of us are still in the gray market, and some of us, I still like seeing a big filled up plant when I go to harvest.
Of course, me too. And we'll get into it. It's not an either or. It's just making sure that you choose wisely.
All right, so tips for getting bigger buds. Let's jump into it.
Okay, first thing is you want to pick a heavy yielding strain. Something that's got heavy buds. It doesn't take too long to flower up. And they've been working on these for decades now. There's so many good strains out there.
Let's talk about some of the classics that
Sure.
people can look for if they're trying to get those big fat buds.
Well, the classic is Big Bud. They name. I don't even think anybody grows that anymore, but they didn't leave much to the imagination there. Okay, no, a Gorilla Glue is a really good one, is what I'm thinking. Blue Dream, another the reason why they named it that.
You know what's funny is you kind of poo-pooed on Blue Dream when we were putting this together. I know a lot of people that they still say Blue Dream is one of their favorite strains.
They still grow it, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it around in a long. Anyway, but the point is, they call it Blue Dream because it's easy to grow. It's a big yielder. Those are fun. Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, you ever hear like land race varieties, Durban Poison and Thai and Jamaican and all that stuff? Those really haven't been, they're land race varieties. They haven't been bred yet, so they're not such huge yielders. I do want to say one thing about yield, and that for me in these legal states, it is no longer about yield. It is about quality. It is about having unique terps. So be careful. There's a reason why people don't grow Big Bud anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So even if you're looking for some heavy yielders, there might be some that aren't worth pursuing.
Yeah, definitely. Just don't, it depends what market and what your goals are. For most of the country, or for most of our audience, I think we're really trying to get high quality medicine out there, as opposed to just, big biomass.
And I think that there's also some high quality medicines that have been bred to the point where they do also do the biomass.
Most of them. Most of the Gorilla Glue is a great example. How long's that been out for? It is an amazing, shout out to my friend Bectopia. She still grows it. She can grow any strain she wants, but she loves that Gorilla Glue, and so do her clients. Patience.
All right, let's move on to number 2 tip on getting bigger yields.
Yeah.
You've kind of been a mad scientist with this one lately.
I don't know if I'm a mad scientist. These are like the 2 biggest components you got, man, which is lights and then CO2. And we're dealing with those no matter what. Of course, we need light to grow. And then there's always 400 ppm of CO2 in the air. So as long as we're exchanging that air, we're getting fresh air in our lung room, we're getting fresh air in our tent or our grow, we're always working with some CO2. But we've just got to figure out that the light is the energy that rips that CO2 off out of the air and puts it into the plant through photosynthesis, light building. We've got to make sure that when we're paying for that energy for the lights to be ripping that carbon off the out of the atmosphere and put it into the plants, we got to make sure that there's some carbon there, or else these lights are just grabbing at nothing.
Right. I've seen people go get these super high-powered lights, but they don't have that extra CO2, and it's basically a waste of electricity.
A complete waste. If you're not running CO2, anything over 900 ppfd of light is going to be a waste.
Okay, and you mentioned, I think it was ambient CO2 levels of
About 400.
400, but you can actually crank up the CO2 in your grow. How does that happen?
If you run a sealed room, it's kind of hard to do in anything but a sealed room. Although I will say, if you have your lung room where people are hanging out, if you have a digital a CO2 meter, you will see how much CO2 a guy like me puts out. Okay, a little bit less for you. Okay, but I put out a lot of CO2. But if you are going to use supplemental CO2, you can dial the lights up, because the lights give more energy to photosynthesize, but there's more carbon to rip out of the atmosphere to photosynthesize with. 1200 ppfd, 1200 parts per million is CO2. That's kind of like an easy rule of thumb to remember. You're probably maxing out at that point. I keep my room, I have CO2, but I keep my room at 1,000 ppfd and 1,000 ppm of CO2. Easy to remember.
Okay, cool. And the mad scientist reference is because you're always experimenting with new lights, new ways to add
sure.
CO2. So you got it, but you're always playing around with ways to improve.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the third thing that will really help your plants perform and crank out those big buds.
Sure, and this is one that's it's ignored so much. It's a head scratcher for me, because we always talk about lights. Everybody gets excited about the new lights that are coming, the new 16 bottles of nutrients that are coming. But environment, the temperature and humidity makes all the difference. And I mean, plants are living, we're living. Just think about what happens if you have everything you need. I have all the perfect studio gear here, but it's 100 degrees in here and 90% humidity. Think my videos are going to come out good?
No, I think of like trying to run a marathon in Florida, and the way you've told me about how Florida is.
Yes.
I would not be able to produce very well.
No, you'd be moldy, man. But environment is huge, so just make sure you're considering that. Again, we talk about putting your tent in a lung room, or getting a tent to separate it from the outside environment. Mm-hmm. It's big, yeah.
And then you've told me before that there's different temperature and humidity settings for different stages of the plant life.
Yeah, there is. You want to lower your humidities a little bit as you go down to flowering, because you get bud molds and whatnot. But it's not that tough. I mean, if you were to keep it 55 to 60% humidity, and right around room temperature is 77, 78 degrees, you're going to be very close to within your ideal ranges. And it is easy to figure this out. You can just yell VPD chart into your phone. It's probably listening right now. And there's a VPD chart, vapor pressure deficit, and you just look temperature, humidity, and you can see whether you're in range or not. But yeah, 55%, 78 degrees, somewhere around there, you're going to be good.
The idea is just to give the plant the ideal environment for it to produce the biggest buds possible.
Yes, and if we're running that marathon, what do we want? We want it to be maybe 78 degrees would be nice, not such bad 55, 60% humidity. I'd probably run pretty good marathon in that, right?
Yeah.
Hey, but that is just my take on boosting your cannabis harvests. But what about you? Have you got any good tips or tricks for us? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please smash that subscribe button. Share this video with another grower you know. And check out the other couple of videos YouTube's recommended, because I think you'll dig them.